Good morning, everyone. I, Sakshi, welcome you all on behalf of Team Competitive Exam Cell. I request everyone to please raise for the national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
भारत माता की
जय।
To begin with, as we all know, we have Mr. Ashish Joshi as our guest today to guide us on topic self-advocacy and self-assessment. I request Sushma to please come and give brief introduction about sir.
Talking about Ashish sir, he completed bachelor's from our institute, JSPM's Rajeshri Shahu College of Engineering from Civil Department with first class distinction. He has received fellowship called Leader by Terry and Tetra Pak India in his first year of graduation. He completed Master of Science in Specification of Transportation Engineering from the Ohio State University, USA. From the International Institute of Information Technology, Bangalore, he completed post-graduation certification in data science. He has an experience of graduate teaching assistant in University of New Mexico and Ohio State University. Also has an experience in data science and business analytic intern. He has good experience working with student organization and is also founder member of Team Shashwat, which is one of the club in our institute. He has a student lead for InnoVision 2014 and 2016, a national technical symposium. Now, I request Professor Somnath sir, our faculty coordinator, to felicitate Ashish sir.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Ashish sir to please begin the session.
Hello everyone. Thank you for coming here on a Saturday. I know it's a holiday and still you all wanted to meet me. I've had a very long journey in the past few days and it's really nice to see all the happy faces. Over the past 3 days I've only seen frowns all over the airport because our flights got delayed and cancelled. So everyone was angry and frustrated. So it's good to meet you all in person and look at you and all of these smiling faces. Thank you for a very good introduction, Sushma, and thank you everyone. Thank you to all the faculty members for having me here today. It's a great pleasure to be back on campus. I've been here for a long time. I know I spent 4 years of my undergrad here, but I've been here more than 4 years, 8 years total, because my brother did his undergrad from here as well, so I used to keep coming in. I know RSC more than 4 years now, so apart from me being just a student here. After I graduated from my master's in Ohio State, I again returned to RSC during the 1 year of COVID-19 pandemic. And I was a research assistant here, more of help to undergraduate students who are doing their final year projects. Am I audible clearly?
Yes.
Thank you. And then even in that 1 year, we did a lot of things. I don't know if you all should probably be here at that time, I don't remember, but we did some activities under Shashwat, and then I again went back for my PhD. Currently I am a PhD student. I will be starting my research next semester, again back in the University of New Mexico. I deal with public rapid transit system, which is the bus rapid transit systems. Don't think of me as a speaker or a guest speaker or someone as a teacher. I know I have been in that teaching role. But today I'm meeting you just as an alumni, like it says Alumni Talks. And alumni is nothing more than an elder brother or an elder sister to you all, right? We may have, a couple of years between us, but we all belong to the same family tree, which is the JSPM RSU family tree. So it's more of that discussion. I wanted to talk to all of you on self-assessment and self-advocacy. The way I came up with this topic is one day, it was late at night and I couldn't sleep. And we have a 2-floor house back where I'm from. We rented, it's not my house, we live 4 people together. And so the bedrooms are upstairs, and since I couldn't sleep, I came down in the drawing room or hall, as we say, and I just started pacing. Sometimes I get these bouts of insomnia where I can't sleep and I need to get some work done. And then I had a diary, and these thoughts started coming to my head. Because I knew I was coming to India, I wanted to interact with students. I had already told all the professors, I have colleagues also that I want to interact with students. And so these things started popping up. What should I talk to them? There's a common topic which is how to do GRE and how to do TOEFL, and I said a lot of people know that these are easily accessible resources on the internet these days. But there are some indirect things that I wanted to pass on from our generation, or from my learnings, my failures, my successes to you all. And so think of it that way. Nobody is perfect. If you think I'm perfect in self-advocacy and self-assessment, then I'm not. Nobody can ever be perfect. Any journey when it comes to yourself is always a journey. You don't have a destination, so it can never be perfect. You have to keep improving that journey, keep having fun along the way. And that's why I wanted to meet you all today. Before we begin with our actual session and actual interaction, I just want you all to take 5 minutes in your head. You can close your eyes, keep your eyes open, whatever, but think about one leader that inspires you. Any one leader. And think about that one sentence which would describe why that leader inspires you. And I have these post-it notes here. I have one pen. If you could bring a pen when you come to the front, you could just write the leader's name and why they inspire you. Tear it out and post it on these chart papers. Okay. Sounds like a doable activity? Yes. Okay. 5 minutes. I'll start the timer. Just think. Everyone can participate. Whoever wants to. It's not compulsory. But the condition is, try not to have a political leader in your head. Think of someone non-political. Okay? But someone still in public life. Okay? Take 5 minutes. Because fate had it this way. Anyone who didn't want to be an engineer like me? Okay, I have one. Good. So we are friends now. 2. Oh, I have more friends now. Okay. That doesn't mean you are not my friend, but just same background. So I wanted to be something else, and I was since childhood. If you ask anyone who knows me since childhood, who's really been there, they'll say, oh yeah, he wanted to be a veterinary doctor, because that's all I would talk about. I would talk about animals, I would talk about curing them, helping them. Things happened, I tried giving the exam, it didn't work out, I was ill, and I was the kind of person who, if I thought in 2013 I want to start my graduate journey, that's when I will start. I won't take a drop or stay away 1 year, study more, and again reattend. I don't have that much patience. Some people do. I have friends who took a drop of 1 year and then they are in med school now. So everything works for everyone differently. If something works for someone else, that doesn't mean it should work for me. If something works for me, doesn't mean it should work for you. And that is the crux of this self-assessment, that you should know what works for you. You should know what you want, and you should know how you react to certain situations. Again, coming back, I came to engineering, and along with me, there were there are few people here who didn't want to be an engineer at first. Even in my batch, my cohort, there were people who didn't want to be an engineer, just like me. They were just there just to get a degree and then work on it as they go along. Something might work for them, and then wherever they want to be, they will be. That's what the ideal plan was. But one thing I noticed in them, that they were really miserable. I always said, "Apne college mein hai hi nahi. We don't have this in our college. We have so few facilities. Look at 𝘾𝙤𝙢𝙤𝙤, they have such large current organized every year. Our college just does one gathering, that one blossom, and it's everything together, right? Is it still happening, or did I? It's still happening, yeah. Not happening? Okay. What about 𝘾𝙤𝙀𝙀? It's still happening, the magazine?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah. See, that's what everybody's mindset was, that we need more facility, we need more of this, more of that. And I never wanted to be here. I never wanted to be a civil engineer in the first place. It doesn't mean I regret it. I was never miserable, because when I decided not to do veterinary sciences, engineering was the other option, and I had never given a single thought towards whether I should do mechanical or computer science or electronics. I just thought of civil engineering because my father was a civil engineer. I thought maybe he would help me in my studies, which he didn't, because he was very busy, so I never had any help from him in terms of academic life. But I learned a lot from him, and that has been my, you can say, mantra, or that has been my motive, that whoever I meet along the way, I try to learn the most from them. Good or bad, there's always something you can learn from everyone. Even a small little thing helps. For example, I was at the airport, so just a context, I left the United States of America to come to Pune on Tuesday local time, and I arrived in India on Friday local time in the morning. So it was like a 4-day journey, which was supposed to be I was supposed to be here in Pune on Wednesday night, but my flight got delayed. When I reached my hub connecting me to an international flight to take me to a different flight, that got delayed, and along with me, the entire passenger full of flight, the whole passengers, everybody's flights got delayed. So we were all lining up in front of the customer service for 1 hour, and they were trying. There were angry passengers, and that is when I realized that these people who are at the customer service desk, how much patience they would need to talk to every customer without getting angry themselves. And at that point I realized with me there were senior citizens who were on wheelchair. There were kids. I saw a baby who had some oxygen pipe in his nose. He was probably 17 weeks old, and they were in the line. And I thought, I still can be better than they're not angry. So I was really angry that day, because I had certain things planned here in the city, and that meant everything was cancelled and everything. And that's when I realized that strength and that calmness is something that is working on. That is what I should learn from them. I'm at least at a better position that I can yell at them. They cannot yell at the customers, right? We get so many credit card phone calls, and one fine day you get angry. These are all human reactions. This is something we need to accept. Nothing is good or bad. We just need to improve upon ourselves. So that is one thing I learned. So every single little thing you can learn from someone, and you don't know where. You just have to keep your eyes and ears open, and that mindset to learn. Coming back, when I started engineering and everyone was so miserable, I thought, I didn't want to be here in the first place. I'm still here. It's a good college. I learned certain things. I am considerably good in academics. I was never a scholar. I never had 80% or anything. It was like 66% distinction is what my requirement was. I would do respectively well sometimes. Sometimes I would not do well in one semester, so I had to work hard the next semester to bring the average of the year to 66. But along with this, I learned more than engineering. engineering is something that is taught, it's actually learned. Nobody teaches you engineering. You have to learn to be. They'll teach you concepts. They'll teach you math. They'll teach you physics. But to be an engineer, you have to train yourself. And in those 4 years, I trained myself. I sought people who were like-minded. In a sense, they inspired me, and I wanted to be in their presence and their company so that I can learn from them. And that is when I got into the Leaders Fellowship program. It was a program, at that point, there were 2 batches, 15 students from Delhi and 15 from Pune were together working on 10 different projects, 3 people on a single project. My project fortunately got selected, and then what started as that project, like a small club in schools, that is now 𝘾𝙤𝙤 in RSU. So this was back in 2014 that I had thought, okay, maybe after I graduate. And I started 𝘾𝙤𝙤 after I had graduated from RSU. I was no longer a student. When I brought together students, I said, Mahajan ma'am was really great support. If you are from civil, you would know, or if you are active in 𝘾𝙤𝙤, you know who Mahajan ma'am is. And then when my 1 year before I went to masters, I used to come to the college daily. I had no business coming here because I was not a student anymore. My juniors used to joke, हमारे से भी तेरा attendance ज़्यादा है, तो can we substitute yours instead because we don't want to be defaulters. वो था. And then that is one point, that you have to seek what you want. To become what you want, you have to seek people who are like that so that you learn from them. But for that, you need to know what you want. You need to know where you want to be. I didn't know I wanted to be a great civil engineer. All I knew that I wanted to be a good professional. I wanted to be someone with an overarching view of things. And that's how I started seeking these opportunities out. And when you are aware about yourself, that is the first step to assessing yourself. When you know what you want, that means you are aware about yourself. And once you know what you want, you can say, okay, this is working for me, this is not working for me. Let me fix this, let me get more skills, let me think about it differently. That is why self-assessment is more important. Because for me, the way I look at self-assessment is it is communicating with yourself. If you look at the problems in the world, maximum times the problems are because of miscommunication. Maybe because of miscommunication with someone else, with your parents, friends, teachers, students, colleagues, anything. But how often do we communicate with ourselves? Do we talk to ourselves? Do we listen to ourselves? That doesn't mean, everybody says you should, do what you love. You should follow your passions. But that's not ideally true for everyone. Does that mean if you're here and you didn't get to follow your passions, you'll not just be yourself, you'll just pass होंगे, backlog नहीं लगेगा, KT नहीं लगेगा, ऐसा नहीं रहता, right? So because that is professionals. For me, career is a way to earn your livelihood, and passion can still go on. And that's why when I was in engineering, I was still doing. My only condition with my father was, his condition to me was you have to maintain distinction. I said, okay. And my condition was, if I do that, if I'm doing engineering, I need to do a certain thing that I like every year or every semester. And so my first year, first semester, end of first semester, I did a tiger census program, which I helped the government of India along with 400, 500 other volunteers, and we started counting tigers in the 𝘾𝙤𝙤𝙤 National Park, which is near Bangalore and Mysore. It's near Mysore, closer to Mysore than it is to Bangalore. That was for 1 week. I did that because I wanted to do that, and I wanted to do that because I loved animals. I knew I am a civil engineering student, so I made sure I don't go below distinction, but that at the same time I didn't compromise with what I love, my passion for animals, my passion for wildlife. That is one thing. Second year, I got that fellowship, which went on for 1 more year. I then did an internship. Now it is very easy for you all to get internships, which is good. For us, we would not have enough breaks when we did engineering. Again, these are the things that probably only I did because I knew what I wanted. My friends were like, we wanted to be here, we wanted to be there, but I said, okay, I'm here, what I can do to improve myself. And that's how I started learning these things. The word actually self-assessment came to me very later in the life. I didn't really think if it is self-assessment. All I knew was I want to do what I want to do. And I will do what I want to do. So know what you want. That is your first step. And as you start working towards it, you will get opportunities. I did engineering, and then I went to do my master's in Ohio State. At that point, even my master's decision was, usually I like to plan a lot in ahead. But my master's decision was not like that. I decided in the last year of engineering, usually people decide in their third year what they want to do. I was like, okay, karna hai masters, will go get enrolled in a GRE coaching class and start working towards it, and you give GRE, you get a good score, whatever score you get, you start applying. One important thing in that application package was the statement of purpose. Now, if you look at it from a very bird's eye point of view, it's just another document that tells the university why you want to do masters in whatever field you have chosen. And so usually the way it goes is people look up templates online. They talk to people, they talk to consultants, they get all of that, they write, and they turn it in. And I thought the admissions committee should know who I am. Right? So my essay should reflect my character. Whether good, bad, doesn't matter. I won't fake anything. So I kept writing and writing and writing, and that's when I realized how important it is to communicate to others what you are. And that's where the self-advocacy part comes in. You can only advocate about yourself, only tell others what you actually are, if you know who you are. After you assess yourself, after you know who you are, that communication happens with yourselves within. That's when you tell others, okay, this is who I am. Take it or break it, I don't care. But this is, I won't compromise on certain things. What are your, this is all connected. That is very important. So I wrote an essay, and now when I look at other essays, and you can see through, after a certain point of reading essays and writing essays, you know who has written what and what have they actually done. And students can think they are being clever, but we know, even in the US, I'm not saying here, I teach American kids as well, and it's the same thing. Generation-wise, it's the same. There's no difference between the students here and the students there. That much I can say. That is where the advocacy part comes in. But we have to do it consciously, right? How many of you have heard about the SWOT analysis? Everyone. Soft skill development class, right? One lecture SWOT analysis. Anybody did that after one lecture? Either the faculty or the students? Please tell. They did that after one lecture. Yeah. How do you work with SWOT analysis? I'm just curious because it is very closely related. SWOT is strength, weakness, opportunities, threats, right? Everybody knows the full form? Yes. Okay, good. So how do you use it in your daily life? You learned it in your soft skills, you learned it somebody else's speech or else's talk or something. At this point, just raise your hand and I'll point out to you and give me answers. Yeah? Anyone? You want to say something? Okay, and for that one lecture or quality? Okay. And how do you apply it now? Now that you learned what SWOT analysis is?
Activities which we conduct, competitive
Yeah.
exams, we divided that activities in SWOT analysis.
Okay, good. So the activities they divided into SWOT analysis. How many of you use it for your personal advantage, personal benefit? I did not. I still don't. I remember when we were being handed out the SWOT analysis, our HOD, I won't name our HOD, he is a great teacher and he came to the class. He was teaching us, but he decided, I am the HOD, and he did it for everyone, not just our class. But since he was in our class, he handed us out a paper and he said, write your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, right? And I wrote out, strengths and then opportunities and threats. And for weakness, I said, I am yet to come across my own weakness. I don't think that was my, somebody might think, oh, he thinks he doesn't have a weakness. But it's not that. I saw a quote somewhere written on these walls, one of this wall that says, the only limit is you, right? You can do anything, but the only limit is you. And I had also known, I don't know if it's an actual biological fact, but you used to get these neat notebooks, and behind that you would get those short stories or facts or whatever, right? In one of that, it was written that the bumblebee, it's a big bee, I don't know if it's here, but it's called a bumblebee. It's aerodynamically not suitable to fly, mathematically. That's what the facts said. Don't quote me on this. I did not go and check it. I liked it and I applied it. That's all. So the bumblebee is not aerodynamically fit to fly. But it still flies because it doesn't know that it is not aerodynamically fit. For it, all it knows is I have wings and I will fly. That's all it matters. Right? So that is important. So these are the things I'm like, okay, so that, and thinking that I wrote in that paper, saying I'm yet to come across my own weakness. Somebody interpreted it as, okay, he thinks he doesn't have any weakness. But honestly, I don't pay attention to my weakness as weakness. I think of them as areas where I can improve myself. That I think is more positive. And after that, we never did SWOT analysis. Probably right before the placement season starts, the training and placement coordinators might walk into our classes and, they, let's do a resume and see what you have, strength, weakness, opportunity, threats and everything. What we forget in that whole logistical planning is we don't apply it intrinsically. आपण फक्त वरचवर बघतो त्याच्याकडे. We don't, for a want of better word, I'll say आत्मसात. I mean, that is the best word to describe it. आपण आत्मसात नाही करून घेते. We don't intrinsically apply that to ourselves. Unless we have a paper, we'll think, okay, we cannot do SWOT analysis. But it doesn't work like that. You can do it every single minute, or you can choose not to do it. But it is a habit. Again, I'll come back to that airport scenario. I landed late at night, around 5:30 or 7 and everything. By the time they gave me a hotel to live in and everything, it was already very late. I got in the hotel at 8:30, and the next morning during breakfast at 8 a.m., I got a message that said my flight had been cancelled, which was scheduled at 4:30, and now I have a different flight at 12 a.m., midnight basically. And I said, okay, well, we'll do it again. I mean, I have a practice of doing it in the evening yesterday. Now I have had breakfast, so I'm not hungry anymore, so at least I'll not be angry. So I went back. I stayed in front of the line and the counter for 3 hours. I stood on the counter for 3 hours. The person solving the problem sat down for 3 hours. We spoke very little. She was doing something on the computer. I was just asking, is there any update? And they booked me on another flight, and we couldn't change anything, but I still was able to get some beneficial outcomes out of that. Because I tried to advocate my case, I advocated myself and said, I cannot stay here without food, so please give me food vouchers. At first they denied, and then I stayed there for 3 hours and they said, yes, we can give you. Okay. So, which was free food, who's going to deny free food, right? Especially when you're traveling. So, that happened. So, all of this was wrapped up by 11:30. I went back to the hotel. I didn't have anything until the midnight. I was in Denver. Now, Denver is a very beautiful city. Any other day, I would love to go to Denver. That was one of my reasons going there, was they have beautiful mountains called the Rocky Mountains. When you go back, just put it on Google and see how beautiful Rocky Mountains are. And I love mountains. And my window had a mountain-facing view. And I was so angry and upset about all of this that I shut the curtains and I just slept. I was sleep deprived, so I slept in the afternoon. I woke up at 4 and sun was getting ready to set. I opened the window and there was this beautiful sunset. And when I looked at the sunset, I was still upset. Usually when you look at a sunset or a sunrise, on a normal day you feel very good. Even if nothing good is happening in your life, if everything is mediocre, you feel, oh, what a great sunset. You just take out your phone. I was in Denver, the mountains were snow-capped, the sun was setting. It was the most beautiful sight. But in my anger and upset, in that mood, I just shut the curtains again and I'm like, no, I'm not going to watch the sunset. I was angry at the sun for being so beautiful at that point. And then I realized, how can I be if someone who says you love nature, right? I cannot be angry at something, so beautiful. Where am I going with this? And that point I again assessed myself saying, okay, what has happened, but I cannot be angry at a sunset. It is a beautiful thing. I should enjoy where I am, which I used to do it, subconsciously or consciously. But then I thought, no, I should know this. I cannot change things. I should be happy where I am right now because things are going to happen. And so that's one point that I said, okay, I'm going to make a note of this and tell my students about this. Okay, it's not okay to get angry at the sun for setting. It's a beautiful sight. No matter what you're going through in life, it's always beautiful. That is the self-assessment. And this is how you learn in life. That's what I want to tell all of you. Like when you look at nature of other people, it's not that only I am going through some troubled times. There are so many others are going through troubled times. And slowly you start learning this, but you have to consciously think every second. If not possible, at least once a week you can think, okay, so what can I change about myself? What was my reaction okay? And this comes, and once you start doing that, get into that habit, you will know yourself better. I was coming and I told my family that I'm angry, and somebody thought, okay, are you angry because you're missing a wedding? I had a wedding to attend, a friend's wedding. We grew up together, we were childhood friends and family friends and everything. And it was one of the weddings in that family where you cannot miss, right? And you're planning everything, and I was supposed to do it, and then the wedding got cancelled, and I said, I'm more angry at things not being operated on time than I'm angry at the wedding cancelled. So that is me. I know why I'm angry, because I want something at a particular time. I get very cranky, I was very upset, so I tell people, I'm angry now, don't talk to me. I do that, I really do that, and it helps. So people also know what you're going through. And then when you communicate to others about yourself, you start developing your own character, your own personality. And when you talk to people, you know exactly what to say, you know exactly what to expect from them. I knew exactly what I wanted to tell to that air hostess or at the counter, that this is the flight I'm booked, I want an earlier flight. And she said, okay, we can get you an earlier flight, but then you'll have to have a connection in Europe. I said, no, I want an entire early flight. I don't want to be stuck somewhere else. These things come from experience. I had an earlier experience of missing a flight, so I knew the loopholes of how to get the most benefit. But at the same time, it was also important to know what I want. Was it worth getting stuck somewhere and then figuring it out? Or again, I would just say that is what self-assessment is. And then you talk to others about yourself, and that is self-advocacy. That doesn't mean कि resume पे कुछ भी लिख दो और बोल देंगे अरे सर ने बोला है self-advocacy करना है, जो किया नहीं है वो भी resume पे लिखो और interview को जाओ. You don't do that, right? If you want to present to someone that you have these skills, make an honest attempt to learn those skills, and tell them clearly that these are my attempts, honest attempts that I have made. People who are true leaders, they will agree to that, and they will accept you as you are. As you are in the sense, that personality that you're so open to them about your shortcomings as well. Self-assessment is not just to look what good we have. We also need to look into what flaws we have. I remember I was interviewing for an internship position. This was right after my first year of master's semester, 2 semesters, and I had an internship opportunity. I went there. It was an easy interview. My manager was there, and one of his colleagues were interviewing me. Manager was American, the colleague was Middle Eastern. And I still remember I had my resume, and my resume, I don't have it now, but it shows that average percentage throughout BE is about 72 or 75 or something, just because I did good on project and everything. And then the Middle Eastern guy, a really great man, we are still friends. He asked me, at the end of the interview, he looks at me and says, okay, you say you have about 72%, why not 90 or 95? I didn't know what to say. And to this day, I don't know how that response came out from me. All I said was, well, for a person with 70%, the scope of improvement is 30%, which is more than 10% if he has 90%. So, and they all laughed. The entire room started laughing. I don't know how I spoke that. If I were to say the same thing with complete position, I would never do that. But it came out of me. And sometimes things happen. If you are really intent on something, if your approach is honest, it happens. You say those things even if you don't intend to, and those are most of the times right, because it comes from your heart. And I got the internship, I worked there for a year, and it was, I don't know, maybe my 6th semester it was just a trick question and they wanted, I don't know, it just happened. So these are the things. Always never be afraid to project yourself as a learner or as a student. That's why I said in the beginning, nobody is perfect. Even I get angry. Nobody needs to be perfect. Why do we need to be perfect? That's my question. We're all natural, right? Made out of nature. If you look at a tree, is any tree a very symmetric tree unless it is, done with gardening tools or no? The sunset is not same every day. The sunrise is not same every day. The rivers keep changing. Why do we are so hell-bent upon being perfect? Embrace the journey. Tell them you are learning. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from your experiences. Learn from other people's experiences. And then we come to the second part of our activity. Why do you think I made you write the names of leaders? And that non-political is covered. But why do you think? Like, what was your thought process? Like when you thought of, we need to write the name of a leader. Did anyone expect something like this to happen when you got into the room today?
No.
Did you like doing it?
Yes.
Okay. Why? So you can, any language is fine with me. You can speak with Hindi, Marathi, English, because I also want to talk to you in those languages. I'm tired of communicating in English. But we need to, if you want to talk your heart out, do it in the language that you are best suited to for now. And slowly you can learn those skills. I also understand Gujarati and Kannada, so if you want to use those languages, that's fine. Yeah.
First of all, I'm very glad to see you, sir. Basically, my name is 𝘰𝙗𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤. I'm from 𝘰𝙏 Mechanical Engineering. So basically, you told to write this because, according to me, it's about to explore yourself. Because what we write on paper, basically who we are, that only we write on paper. For example, I'm writing any essay. What we write, who I am, what was my past experience, who I have been till now. That only I write on paper, right? So basically, these quotes are nothing but, yeah, it's of course a leader's quote. But I think most of the time I write who we are. Like I have wrote that a leader is not someone who knows how to handle success, but most importantly, he should know how to handle the failures.
Yeah.
Basically, I have went to that journey of how to handle the failures. I know it. So basically, I have experienced it. So basically, I write it that way. So basically, that's what I think.
How did you feel writing it?
Huh?
How did you feel writing it?
Yeah, I feel good because I have experienced it in past. So and APJ Abdul Kalam sir has also experienced it. So I read them.
Do you want to share that experience?
I can share it. Basically, I was preparing for marathon session, not marathon, 600-meter race in Chandigarh state, because I have played state level there. So I was very enthusiastic and very confident that I could win that match there, 600 meter, because I am a perfect runner over there. I have done practice also a lot before that. But when I went there, I was little bit overconfident. Means I thought that yes, I would make it, because I saw the people nearby me. They were very small heighted and they were not very enthusiastic. And to run, I was in lead. When the race started, I was much in lead. Means I was ahead of them. But I thought I would win. So it was a bit of overconfidence. And when the last stage came of passing the 100 meters, I lost there completely because my energy was completely down and I was completely shattered. I came 5th in that level. It was state level competition. I came 5th. I lost my hopes, everything. But our coach, our mentor, 𝘾𝙤𝙢𝙤𝙤 sir, he told me that this is a part of life. You are overconfident. You take this. You don't sit here and just say that I have completed my race. I have come 5th in that. Don't shatter completely. But the main thing is what you learn from here. You analyze your mistake. You make SWOT analysis. He said the same SWOT analysis because he was our quality manager in past. So he told make SWOT analysis for your family and yourself also. So you will realize who you are and where you lie. That was my experience. It was a little bit bad experience, but I learned many things from it because I lost in that race. So that's it.
Thank you for sharing. And success, failure are part of life. You win one race, you lose one race. That's okay, but you get to play. You get to go to that level and meet with other people and do all of that stuff. That is more important. Nobody's going to remember at the end of the day what happened. Right? Similarly, speaking of, since we've touched upon that area of failure, don't consider it as a baggage. But at the same time, I would also say don't consider success as a baggage. There is a beautiful poem, I think it's by Rudyard Kipling. Again, don't quote me, my memory is a little faded in this. I used to print this. I remember the poem was printed. It's a long poem, and I had it in my office wherever I sat. Because the one line it said in the poem is, if you can treat with triumph and disaster the same, then you will be a man, my son. I mean, in the sense that you will be a good human being. It's not, and that's the key takeaway. Philosophy is that success or failure doesn't matter. Your courage to continue, your efficiency even after success to work in the same way is more important. These things keep happening. But any other answers anyone wants to share about what leader they've written, why they've chosen that leader, or what they thought about when they wanted to write about the leader, why they picked a particular leader. I don't want to point fingers or make you say things on a Saturday. But if you want to share, please come up and share, or I'll just read in a bit. But anyone wants to share their experience of why they selected? Is Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj on that list? Who all have written it? आता मी क्विज घेऊ का? Go by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj.
He had an unending aspiration towards people welfare.
Yes.
That fascinated me.
Thank you. Anybody else? Why Shivaji Maharaj? Yes, he has a wonderful character. I mean, I don't need to say that in Pune, or I don't need to say that here, but there is a lot you can learn from him. Yeah.
Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was the great leader.
Yes.
We are so learning from them. So he is the great leader.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Thank you.
Sir, I personally follow him because his unity. He आपण म्हणतो ना सगळ्यांना एकत्र घेऊन पुढे जाणं असं.
Yes.
And his great leadership that all know.
He devoted his whole life for the welfare of common people. Also, in a true sense, he is a publicly accepted leader.
Yes. 100% true.
Shivaji Maharaj have all that qualities that we build in one leader in their leadership. आणि शिवाजी महाराज असं कॅरेक्टर होते तर म्हणजे ते कम्प्लीट कोणताही प्लॅन एक्झिक्यूट करण्याआधी त्या प्लॅनची कम्प्लीट स्टडी इन देअर माइंड व्हिज्युअलाइज करायचं and then they execute. There is a better quality in that.
100%.
Otherwise, they are the best.
Now that we are talking about Shivaji Maharaj and we are talking about self-assessment and self-advocacy, do you think he practiced these principles even though he may not know these words?
Yes.
Can you think of those instances in his lifetime where he might have practiced that, or how? Anyone just think? I mean, it's if you have seen or read Raja Shiva Chhatrapati or any Shiva Charitra, basically.
Yeah, I guess every instance he has tried it, whether it be the raid on Surat, whether it be the strike and surgical strike, basically, or the Afzal Khan week. Every incident which he has executed, I guess, with that SWOT analysis.
Exactly. Be it पुण्याचा लहाल महल, नागरेवन सुटका, all of these incidents, Afzal Khan one, he knew exactly what he wanted. He knew what message should be conveyed to Afzal Khan for him to come to Azadi. He knew that exactly, and that is a distinction in terms of other leaders during his time or his enemies didn't have that skill. That is more important. He knew what has to be done. He knew how to communicate. There is any other kings or queens that you have written here or you've read or whatever.
Basically, I like writing, so I like about Zakir Khan. She is also a writer. So I personally feel that as we are writers, so we have given the work to articulate the others' emotion. So मतलब हम सबको कुछ ना कुछ लगता है, तो वो सब कुछ जाहिर नहीं कर पाते. तो उसका काम खुदा ने हमको दिया कि हम उनके भाव को पेपर पे लिख सके. तो इसके लिए मैंने लिखा था कि जैसे कि शूज होते हैं, वो सब पहनते लेकिन बनाता कोई और है. तो वैसे सबके बारे में कुछ इमोशंस वगैरह सब कुछ होता है, लेकिन सब वो जाहिर नहीं कर पाते. तो उसका काम भगवान ने हमको दिया है. So I wrote about that.
That's a great. I mean, I also like his poetry. Out of he's actually a really good poet, Zakir Khan, and I recently the line you just said, shoes सब पहन दे. वो अब भी recently शायद किसी इंटरव्यू में पढ़ा या तो Instagram पे या मुझे समझ नहीं आता. But I've also listened to him say that. And out of the new age writers and poets, he's one of the really good also comedians as well as writers.
Important, not important.
I wrote about 𝘼𝙭𝙪𝙀, right? Everybody knows. Does anyone know, like, just like we did with any instance where she probably practiced these principles? No, there was one particular instance after the Battle of Panipat. Marathas lost. It was a great tragedy. She started. I mean, she was already ruling. She started ruling Indore and Malwa region. At that point, after Panipat, Madhavrao Peshwa was the prime minister. He had an uncle called Raghunath Peshwa. One point he was in the north area and he wanted to take over the kingdom of Malwa because they didn't have a king. It was just 𝘼𝙭who was leading. And Peshwa didn't know this. Madhavrao Peshwa didn't know it. He thought we'll do it. So at the banks of Shikha, on this side was Raghunath Peshwa's army, and on the other side it was 𝘼𝙭's kingdom. And she found out Raghunath Rao was planning to attack. She said, okay, I'll fight. She sent him a letter. And in the letter it clearly said, I am ready to fight you. If you win, people will just say you won over a woman, so you will be ashamed anyways. If I lose and if I win, people will say you lost from a woman. And then the Raghunath Peshwa again sent her that I am here to offer condolences, not to take over her kingdom. She said, if you want to offer condolences, you don't need an army, you can just come on your own. Again, she knew what exactly she had to say to get the job done. And she averted a big war just because she could communicate very clearly. It would have been easy to go, we get all emotional sometimes, and we sometimes lose sight of our object, and then it becomes important to be objective, to look at a situation objectively without any emotions and see how we can get out of it. And all of these are parts of communication, but a communication with yourself will only support these communications. And that's, I think, you said guidance, but my facilitation to you is that talk to yourself, listen to yourself, and know who you are, what you want to be. Take your time. It's not that you 𝘼𝙭𝙪𝙀, but make little efforts every day, because then they compound into a large scale. The Tiger Census program that I wanted to do, I had known I wanted to do that in 2009. In 2009, I had decided I wanted to do a Tiger Census, and in 2013, I got that opportunity. So things manifest. I had read in a newspaper clipping that it happens every 4 years. So in 2009, I read a news article says Karnataka has Tiger Census program, volunteers. And I wasn't 18 at that point. In 2009, I was in 9th standard. So they wouldn't allow me anyways, even if I wanted to. And so in my 10th, vacations, I worked in a zoo. And then I somewhere written this down, I want to do this next time it happens. And then again, the opportunity came to me in 2013, where I was barely 18, my first year of engineering. And then I said, I want to do this. So things manifest, but you have to have patience. And if you're doing one thing, doesn't mean you can lose sight of other things. There are other things that are also important that need to be done. If I said, जब तक Tiger Census नहीं होता मैं कुछ करूँगा नहीं, I wouldn't have been able to do engineering. Engineering कर रहा था, उसके बावजूद भी Tiger Census किया, उसके बावजूद भी जो चीजें करनी हैं, वो जब होता है, that is more important. There is one duty that you also have to fulfill. But again, the first thing is start knowing yourself better. Work on it slowly. You don't have to be very stressed about it. But slow and steady. Make sure where you are going and you are going where you want to go. And then it becomes clear to talk to others about yourself. I meet so many people in the US who are master's student, 5 years experience and everything. If I tell them, I'm also a president of a club in the US, and I tell them, okay, introduce yourself. And other than name, they cannot say anything. because they don't know how to express themselves. And that comes when you know what you are. So these are some takeaways that I want you all to have with you today. And I hope you all liked it. The part 2 of that activity is I want you all to come up and pick the paper that you did not write. दुसऱ्याचं कुणाला तरी घरी घेऊन जायचं आणि त्या रीडर बद्दल बघायचं. चालेल? आपलंच नाही घेऊन जायचं. हो ना? नाहीतर मग मी तुमच्याकडेच काम म्हणलं असतं. Right? That is activity part 2. And this is the end of session. You can take it while going home. But if you have any questions at this point, you can ask. Feel free to talk to me. And there's no need to be very formal. Okay?
So I have one question. It's bit psychological. So how to maintain a balance between conscious and subconscious mind? Because if we think about conscious mind, our conscious mind thinks logically, right? And subconscious mind thinks emotionally. So how to maintain a balance between that? For example, I like any subject. Suppose I think I like any subject. This is my subconscious mind, right? Because I like it emotionally also. But if I don't like any subject, for example, any Tom subject, I don't like it. But my conscious mind says that you have to study because you have to score good marks in it. But my subconscious mind denies it because I don't like it only from heart. So how to maintain the balance?
That's where objectivity comes in, right? Your duty as a student is to pass that Tom subject, right? Whether you like it, you hate it, it doesn't matter. You have to pass it, right? If you like it, good. If you don't like it, still good, right? 20. What?
Engineering mathematics.
Me? Oh yeah. Okay. This is a secret. Don't tell anyone. Okay? But every semester there was, especially I think I'll say every semester there was one subject where I was just about to fail. I'll show you my mark list, and if you talk to the other madam, ask her how she felt when I was writing the chemistry final exam. She was more worried about me than I was worried about myself. But there were multiple reasons, not that I didn't study, but some semesters I was terribly ill. I have been to an exam hall when just before going to the exam hall, I had a terrible bout of vomiting, and I had that uniform and everything. I walked up to the door and I again go back and vomit, and then I said, it was electronics. And then I said, I don't know what pattern you have now, but we had that in-sem and sem exam pattern almost similar. But our time we didn't have separate passing, so we were lucky. That was the only batch that didn't have separate passing. I think you have separate passing now, 12 conditional. For us it was, even if you didn't go to in-sem exam, if you did well on your end-sem, you were okay to okay, that was my, chance. So electronics exam, I never understood electronics. I'll be very honest, it's a very difficult subject for me, with all those AND gates, OR gates and everything. And so in-sem, जसं व्हायचं तसंच झालं. I think I passed over it, and then end-sem exam, and I knew I needed 15 marks to pass the exam. That's all I knew. And I fell ill. I did not choose to fall ill. But I didn't choose. I fell ill and the first year timetable used to be, you had these electives like, chemistry, electrical, physics, electronics. And you have a 1 week break and then you start maths and all of those other subjects. So my section was chemistry, electronics. Both of the papers I was ill, terribly ill. Blood test I still went for the exam. I could have chosen not to go. I was really very, that situation was really not, I'm not advising you also do this. That's all totally on your list. Okay, if you get a doctor's certificate, you can show it. But the only reason I did it was, ठीक है, नहीं जाऊंगा तो पक्का फेल हो जाऊंगा. अगले सेमेस्टर वापस देना है. And I didn't want to learn electronics again. एक सेमेस्टर बाद वापस electronics पढ़ो उसका एग्जाम दो. Why? So I said, ठीक है, I'll at least try. I need 15 marks. 16 भी मिल गए, मैं पास हो जाता हूँ. My job is done. And I went there. I wrote the answer sheet was worth 16 points. I got 16 points. It was a win-win situation. But that's not the ideal way. I would not advise you to do this. If you can really study. If I was not there, I would have really studied. because I get really stressed for exams. But other than that, I would be involved like you all, I would work with innovation and this and that. So every time my INSEM was the most difficult part. Like you said, you have Tom. We would have structural analysis 1, structural analysis 2, structural design 1, 2, 3, strength of materials, mechanics. Anyone from civil here? How's it going? All of these structures. Okay. So, and structural analysis 1, I'll tell you, I had 7 out of 30 in my INSEM. Had it been a conditional passing, I would have needed 13 to pass. And then one good thing is we would get PA, right, preparation leave, 15-20 days. In that 15-20 days, I just solved structural analysis 1, all numericals. And the same situation was with fluid mechanics too, which I think yours is turbo machines, right? Fluid mechanics. Turbines and
from all the departments,
Oh.
not just mechanics.
So fluid mechanics is a very critical subject, and I was on the same, like 8 out of 30, and I needed at least more than 50 to respectfully pass the 100 exam points. And so I remember we used to get Modi set and RK Bansal, 2 reference books, and I solved numericals from each single one of them. And my only chance was I never study for numericals. My approach is कि theory कर लेंगे, numerical थोड़ा given वगैरह लिख के method लिख के वो थोड़ा दे देंगे, pass हो जाऊँगा. Time नहीं रहता. And because you have the paper pattern and everything, right? वो पता चलता है क्या है. Question 1 or 2 में कितना weightage theory, कितना weightage numericals. And I had a friend, great friend, recently got married, and we had a phone call. He said, "Bhai, मैं तो नहीं कर रहा turbine से, I'll just do theory." And he's a scholar. I mean, I don't think he ever got less than 75% in any semester. And I said, you can have that freedom to choose not to do numericals. Well, it won't matter. For me, I don't have any options. I solved everything. I didn't like theory. I didn't like fluid mechanics. And the question paper, believe me or not, it was based on numericals only. We have very few theory questions. There are other philosophical ways this can be explained, but I think at this point this should be okay.
Sir, how to assess the OAQs, that is officers-like qualities which are crucial for an IAS officer?
Officer-like quality is crucial for us. So, you are a citizen. What do you think your IAS officer should be? What do you think his qualities or her qualities should be?
Stress handling,
Stress handling,
crowd handling,
crowd handling,
patience,
patience.
good public speaking skills,
Okay. Multitasking,
multitasking, time management.
time management. And so, what was your question? How to develop these qualities? Or?
Yes, and how to evaluate that we have achieved this.
Oh, good question. Did anyone say? How to evaluate we have achieved it or not? Personally, what I do is, I don't evaluate myself. I never do. I just feel मुझे इतना काम करना है, सब मुझे पसंद का करना है, so I need to be good at managing all of this. I wanted to talk to you all because I like talking to students and I like interacting. And I said, no, I want to do this. So I started making notes on the flight and journey here. I said, we'll find a good time. But whether or not you have achieved that level, I would say there is no such level where you need to be. You can only improve. I don't think there is a bar that says, okay, or there is a metric that evaluates, okay, you have this percent of time management or say 5% of public speaking. It's always an improvement. So focus on conscious improvement of those qualities. And slowly you will find out the results that come through them. So don't worry about whether or not I have those qualities. Just focus on improving those qualities. Because you all have, we all have those qualities. We all have public speaking skills. Because when we go to a shopkeeper and tell him we want something, like 8 liter दूध there, and it is public speaking, we know how to get it. We all have those qualities. But we need to keep working on these to improve, and other people will notice it. And once you're so focused on yourself, you'll know, okay, I can do that challenge. And slowly you will get that inner voice. When I said listen to yourself, that voice will tell you, okay, I can do this or I can't do this. Maybe I should try doing this. And that voice is important. But that voice is strengthened if you are really focused on that journey of self-improvement. And slowly it happens. Like My other pursuits, other than my PhD, I do a lot of other things. I am also working on editing a project. I'm working on a documentary movie. It's a full-fledged 2-hour documentary. I was on a team for that since 2021 August, I think, or May of 2021, and they're still in the editing phase. So I'm also doing that. At the same time, I'm also a PhD student. I am teaching my students. I am active in public life, social life, and 𝘊𝙗𝙗𝙀𝙗. I'm president of another organization. A lot of my cohort doesn't do it. PhD students is just lab. And I said, just like my undergrad, I cannot do this. So these things, what they miss out on is they improve these skills in you. And they give you that confidence. The reason I say confidence is, had I not done that exam if I were ill, I would never have had that confidence कि ठीक है बीमार हूँ तो भी मैं एग्जाम दे सकता हूँ. ये कॉन्फिडेंस मुझे नहीं आता. मला एक कॉन्फिडेंस आलंच नसतं. मला आजारी नाही जाणार एका. फेल व्हायला आलोय. एका आठवड्यात 2 आठवड्यात 200 300 पेजेस जर न्यूमेरिकल सॉल्व करतोय ते केले नसते तर I would never have been confident that I can pass. The result showed that I got out of 50, out of 70 I got about 55, 56, which is a good score, respectable score at that point. And that result, they build your personality. And you don't need other people telling you, but you get that subtle confidence in you, which is just the right amount, which is not overconfidence and which is not underconfidence. It's just the right amount that you need. And you yourself give it to you, but you have to work on improving those qualities. Just focus on doing the right thing, and you'll get those qualities. It will take time. It won't happen. It will take years, maybe weeks, months, years. But it will happen. Good question. Thank you.
सर मतलब अपने काम को प्रायोरिटाइज कैसा करना है? मतलब मुझे ये भी करना होता है और ये भी करना होता है. मतलब मुझे मेरा पैशन भी फॉलो करना है और बीटेक भी करना है. तो प्रायोरिटाइज कैसे करें अपने काम को?
There is a quadrant. I don't remember the exact name of the quadrant, but the quadrant मतलब ऐसा plus minus. I don't know which side, but one quadrant is important but not urgent. The other is urgent and important. The third one is non-urgent, not important. And the fourth one is what it is? Important. नहीं हो गया.
Important, not important.
Important, not important. Urgent, right? So एक quadrant है important and urgent. दूसरा quadrant है urgent but important. मतलब करना है. किसी ने दरवाजा का घंटी बजाया. Important नहीं है. But you still have to open it, right? Because it is urgent. At the same time, you just like me, if I hope nobody's at that level, but if you are not performing well in exams and preparation week तक रुकना है, एक दिन पहले तक रुकना पढ़ने के लिए, तो वो urgent and important हो जाता है. But you can change it to be important but not urgent when you start practicing. Third is जो urgent भी नहीं है, important भी नहीं है. It can be any trivial thing. जैसे Instagram पे रात में just go through the reels or just watch memes. That is neither urgent nor important. That is third. And fourth one is which is urgent and important, both. जैसे वो first day of exam के पहले पढ़ना urgent भी है, important भी है. So put your activities in these quadrants to begin with. Every single activity you can do, and slowly your brain gets that habit of prioritizing without you even actually actively having to. You yourself know कि कौन सा important है, कौन सा नहीं है, कौन सा ऐसे छोड़ सकता है. But you have to get into that habit. And if you want, you can. I think it is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I think that book has this quadrant. Anybody else?
Sir, I have also one question for you. Sir, you are also engineers. You are also into engineering life. So होता क्या है सर, जब हम इंजीनियरिंग लाइफ में बिफोर टू इंटर इंजीनियरिंग लाइफ हमें बहुत हमारे गोल को लेके बहुत एनर्जी होती है, बहुत एनर्जेटिक होती है और बहुत कॉन्शियस भी रहते हैं कि इंजीनियरिंग में इंटर करने के बाद हम ऐसे मतलब पूरा प्लान करके आते हैं कि ऐसे ऐसे एग्जीक्यूट होंगी चीज़ें और ये सब चीज़ें हम मतलब ऐसे ऐसे पूरे प्लान करते हैं. तो होता क्या है, जब हम इंजीनियरिंग लाइफ में इंटर करते हैं तो सब चीज़ें होती है जो माइंड को स्कैटर करती है और उसमें बहुत सारी चीज़ें इन्वॉल्व. तो क्या होता है, हम हमारे गोल को लेके मतलब सब कॉन्शियस और इनडायरेक्टली कह सकते हैं कि लेजी होते जाते हैं. हमें करना तो होता है जस्ट बट टू स्पीड मतलब इंजीनियरिंग कुछ पीरियड में हम उसको लेके थोड़ा लेजी हो जाते हैं, तो उसको हम ऐसे एनर्जेटिक नहीं लेते उसको लेके, तो सबकॉन्शियस मतलब होने लगता है वो, तो लास्ट में आते आते वो थोड़ा मतलब पूरा लो फील होता है। इसको कैसे मतलब देख कर
the way मतलब मैं जैसा करता था, I don't know if I usually carry a diary with me, and that has been, I mean, not that same diary, but the habit has been with me from 2009. So जो चीजें करनी है दिन का एक काम, जैसे कि आज जो भी छोटा मोटा हो, जैसे कि पेड़ को पानी डालना हो या पढ़ाई करनी हो, I start writing on those. At the same time, I also write something that I want to achieve years later, and that's when I wrote मुझे डाइवर्सेंस से सर्वा वाला करना है, and then you keep looking at that diary कि क्या क्या करना है मुझे जिंदगी में, and then you force yourself कि ये करना है. So currently what I am doing, is it going to help me achieve my goal? Ask yourself that question. खुद से वो सवाल करो. And then you start getting into that habit कि ठीक है टाइम वेस्ट करने का झमेला दिखता है, नहीं करेंगे. This will help me. I want to gain more skills. I want to be more efficient or prioritize. One of your areas where you said your question was is also prioritizing. And there are plenty of different ways you can get distracted. But one way to not get distracted is also prioritizing your work. And that is how you improve yourself. It's a slow process, but it will happen slowly.
होता क्या है इस प्रोसेस में, जैसे कि अभी हमने नंबर ऑफ ग्रुप ज्वाइन किए, तो हर एक ग्रुप को इंडिविजुअली टाइम देना पड़ता है, तो उसमें क्या होता है, इतना हम इन्वॉल्व हो जाते हैं कि वो जो हमारा गोल है पर्सनल, जो हमें मतलब हमारे पर्सनल लेवल पे अचीव करना है, तो उसको टाइम नहीं दे पाते थे. तो इंजीनियरिंग लाइफ में बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती है, ये भी करना होता है, वो भी करना होता है, बीटेक की मतलब एकेडमिक्स भी कवर करना होता है, ग्रुप ज्वाइन किए तो ग्रुप का काम भी करना होता है, और पर्सनल लाइफ में
Start improving your efficiency. जैसे कि अगर ये these are all good things that are going to help you. जो ये तुम काम बोल रहे हो distraction नहीं है, I would say these are challenges that if you work on them, you will be very efficient in managing yourself. Because this doesn't make you lazy. This is like इतना सारा काम है. तो the way I do it is I wake up very early in the morning. जहाँ पे भी टाइम मिलता है I start doing work. कि ठीक है ये करना है. If I need to email my students, okay, I'm on the bus, I start emailing my students. If I need to email someone, because I usually work in different time zones for the documentary thing, and it's very hard कि सबसे एक ही बात हो. So you have a contact person. You set up a system. If you are a part of the club, उसको टाइम नहीं दे पा रहे हैं, उससे टाइम थोड़ा कम करना है. बट वो क्लब में बाकी लोग भी हैं जो प्रॉब्लली शायद कर सकते हैं तुमसे बेटर, या they can for now filling the gap, and you can talk to them and say कि ठीक है मेरे हिस्से का काम बता दो. We'll set up a mechanism where I can be do this also as that also. कितना मीटिंग में एफिशिएंसी देना है, कितना इन्वेस्ट करना है. You have to decide on a personal level. For me, like I used to do PM के time I used to study a lot. My study was only focused on the PM. So other times I used to do all of these activities and slowly start treating as. But when it comes to academics versus non-academics, but non-academics help you other ways that academics cannot help. इसलिए जो क्वेश्चन है कि बाकी सब कैसे मैनेज करना, दैट इज वन थिंग इज तो टाइम मैनेजमेंट. और कुछ चीजें ज्यादा होती है तो इट इज आल्सो अ स्किल टू से नो टू समथिंग. सब चीजें करना जरूरी भी नहीं और शायद पॉसिबल भी नहीं. देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स आई हैड टू से नो टू बिकॉज़ आई वाज शॉर्ट ऑन टाइम. बट यू हैव टू मेक दैट कॉन्शियस डिसीजन कि ठीक है इसको अगर ना बोले, सो द रीजन आई से नो टू दिस इज बिकॉज़ देयर आर अदर थिंग्स एंड इट्स ओके. बाद में अपॉर्चुनिटी कभी मिलेगी वापस. It's okay to say no to certain things, but if you say no to certain things and then you're wasting time doing something where you can actually do it, then I would say instead of wasting that time, like there are plenty of ways to waste time. Personally, I like watching movies, but in the past 1.5 years, I've watched just 2 or 3 movies. That too, I watched Regional Films because I wanted to support the artist, and 𝘰𝙪𝙀 नहीं होता. So other friends they go to parties and everything. I don't go because I don't have time to go. So this is how I choose what to prioritize. I miss out on a lot of things. I miss out on friends, get-togethers and everything. But you have to decide on what you want to miss out on and what you want to gain. Does that answer your question, or did I confuse you a lot?
No.
Okay. So it's okay to say no sometimes, but you have to think कि इससे क्या होगा, क्या होगा. That's fine. It's completely fine to say no or reduce the workload.
Sir, what is the difference between self-advocacy and selfishness?
Good question. Self-advocacy is telling someone who you are. जैसे resume में sometimes I read statements of purpose of students and everything. They write a lot of exaggerations, and that I think is selfishness. But if you write exactly what you have done with honesty, that is self-advocacy, right? I think that is the difference in self-advocacy and selfishness, is where you don't just care about yourself, कि नहीं मुझे यही चाहिए या ऐसा है, but tell them this is what I have. Most of the times you encounter your position to be a self-advocate in job interviews and other things. Self-advocacy is मुझे ये आता है, this is how I can improve. Selfishness मुझे ये आता है, बाकियों को तो कुछ भी नहीं आता. और जो सपोज एक सॉफ्टवेयर आता है, साथ में और दो जोड़ दो जो आते नहीं हो, बोलेंगे कि बाद में हो गया तो फिर हम सीखेंगे, बोलेंगे हम सीखेंगे बाद में. That becomes selfishness. Lying is selfishness, not lying is selfishness. Okay, simple.
How to make consistency in work?
Consistency in work. Keep doing it every day. Whatever you want consistency in, keep doing it every day.
प्लान तो बनता है लेकिन फॉलो 2-4 दिन होता है, उसके बाद
नहीं करना ही नहीं. There's no other option. अपने आप तो होने नहीं वाला. Yeah, it's every day set a time. कोई भी एग्जांपल दे दो जो काम तुमको कंसिस्टेंसी करना है. एनी एग्जांपल, हाइपोथेटिकल रेंज जो भी.
स्टडी,
डेली स्टडी. सबसे पहले उठते साथ वो काम करो. कॉलेज जाने से पहले. जब तक नहीं होता बोलेंगे हम खाते हैं. I do it personally. Like if I decide I want to do it, unless and until I do that, I say कि ठीक है आज खाना नहीं होगा जब तक नहीं. So that is my personal thing. Everybody else has different plans that work for them. You have to experiment with yourself to know what works for you. But consistency के लिए रोज करो. That is the only option. वो अपने आप नहीं. Good question. Okay, you first and then. Okay.
Sir, we talked about SWOT analysis. So means I have to do a list of strengths and weaknesses. So I pick a weakness and work on it and convert it into my strength. So what happens? I convert a weakness into strength.
The strength converts to weakness.
Yes. So one means new weaknesses rise up in my means every time I do a new work.
Yeah.
So I get to know about my weakness, means one new weakness. So it is good or bad for me.
The way I do SWOT analysis is I never do it on paper. I never think of strength, weakness, opportunity, threat in different partners. The way I do it is like I said, like a bumblebee. I will come to it. अगर ठीक है अभी मुझे लगता है time management मेरा weakness है. But how would I know? Only way to know it is a weakness to do a lot of things and just carry the learnings, just carry the feelings that you got and the experience that you had. Right? आप जैसे for example I travel from Albuquerque to Pune, New Mexico, right? I don't care कि मैं Albuquerque से निकला उधर से है, but the journey was interesting. That I learned from that journey. Same thing with nobody talks about grades anymore by what I did in my school. But probably from my cohort, I'm one of the few who can talk about experiences in RSU and good experiences. If you find my cohort, they'll say, "अरे college के बारे में बहुत कुछ बताएंगे." But this is where I learned that experiences are more important than your end result. So whether good or bad, whether अच्छा बुरा, whether success or failure, in the grand scheme of things, only your learning from that matters. Okay.
And in your engineering, you came to JSPM. Does a thing was there in your mind to go to IIT or NIT?
This is a good question. I'll show you on my notes. I have written IITs or I'll show you. Let me read. Hold on. Okay. So I'm reading. So general trend that I've seen is anything less than IIT or COAP or other popular institutes is a disappointment in students. That's what I've observed during my cohort and juniors में, seniors में कि IIT नहीं मिला तो जैसे कि कैरी हो गया. दूसरा कुछ कॉलेज तो मतलब मतलब है ही नहीं कॉलेज. It's not the case, right? IIT में हो या तुम IIT के बाहर हो, engineering concept same है. That doesn't say कि अरे IIT में तो engineering better. They have other opportunities. I'm not denying that. But like I said, you have to strive for it. How much you strive, and it's okay not to get what you want, but make the best out of what you got. If you just keep thinking, another line that I wrote, at this point onwards, people focus on what could have been instead of what can be. They just focus on what could have been. अगर मैं IIT गया होता तो अरे मैं तो भाई सुंदर पिचाई से भी आगे निकल गया, ऐसा नहीं होता. But at the same time, what you have is also very important. Make the best out of it, and that is how you learn. कितने तो IITs के dropouts हैं जो acting में जा रहे हैं, right? We have like YouTube पे है जो ये है. They are dropouts from IIT. They are doing spectacular well in their chosen career, but at the same time they couldn't do engineering, right? They had to drop out. So these are the things. So don't think of it that IIT is some sort of jaded castle. Okay, you have to try. It is of course very prestigious. National institute. There's multiple research opportunities, but you also get multiple opportunities. ठीक है, B.Tech में नहीं हुआ तो क्या हुआ? M.Tech कोशिश करेंगे. 4 साल पूरा घिसा तो M.Tech मुझे IIT से करना है. M.Tech नहीं हुआ तो PhD करेंगे IIT से. नहीं हुआ तो आके सिखाएंगे IIT में. Alright? I'll tell you. Go meet Rai madam in the civil engineering department, and she will tell you. IIT क्या होता है? All through her career, she's been in NITs and IITs. B.Tech from NIT, M.Tech from NIT, and PhD from NIT. And this is also one point where I'd like to stress: have a mentor, someone who you can share with, and have multiple of them. एक ही mentor ना रखो. Rai madam was my project guide in B.Tech, B, and she had never taught me. B में आने तक उन्होंने पढ़ाया because she teaches only BE के students at our time, and she had just done one lab with us, geotechnical engineering. And when third year का last sem था, I spoke to my friend. We were just doing submissions like you are doing bench पे बैठ के last week में जो submissions करने होते हैं. वो लिख रहे, copy कर रहे हैं. And he said, अरे अगले साल project का क्या सोचा है? बोले कुछ सोचा नहीं किसमें करना है. मैं बोला मुझे field मालूम नहीं, but I want to be Rai madam student in the project. These were my exact words to them. She used to do transportation engineering. मैंने transportation engineering की courses पढ़ी नहीं. I didn't know what it meant. All I knew was I wanted to be Rai madam student because she, I was inspired by her only with one question. In the geotechnical engineering lab on first day she asked कि engineering क्यों कर रहे तुम लोग? And I didn't have an answer at that point. Like, we should have answers to this. ठीक है, 2 साल कर रहे, पसंद है इसलिए नहीं कर रहे, ठीक है, पर आगे क्या? You should have. And she had a really great approach in teaching those labs, and that's what I wanted to be. I wanted her approach, and I said, "नहीं, मुझे Rai madam के साथ ही project करना है." She was in transportation, so I told my friend, "अरे वो transportation में चलेगा क्या?" ठीक है चलेगा, teacher. Like okay. Third year का last sem, when other students are not even thinking about BE project, or some actually do. I take my word. Like some really do. They work on really great things. But majority of them, they were like, okay, BE में जाके देखेंगे. I dropped my pen, I walked up and I went to her office and I said, Madam, ये project का क्या scene होता है अगले साल? मतलब how is it decided? Project group क्या है? Faculty advisor कौन है? She said it's students choose and it's first come first serve. कि faculty के पास इतने groups का positions होते हैं, जितने groups आते हैं जो पहले आते हैं हो जाते हैं. मैं बोला आपके पास कोई आया क्या? बोला अभी तो टाइम है, कौन आएगा? मैं बोला फिर मेरा नाम लिख लीजिए, मेरा friend भी है. हम बाकी का ग्रुप जोड़ लेंगे कैसे भी करके अगले साल. That's not a big deal. Civil में we need more people to do a project because most of them we have concrete casting होता है. We have to do a lot of work. So the rule was civil के लिए 6, other branches were at 4. So I said okay, I'll get the other 4 as we start next year. But she said I haven't taught you, you don't know me, I just one lab. I said no, but I want to be yours. But she said I'm transportation, you have not done transportation. I said आप structure भी करा ले तो भी मैं करूँगा. But I want you as a guide. And that's how I chose Rai madam. And that's important. What was your question again? It was something to do with how to. What was your question?
Why JSPM? You choose JSPM. There was no
over IITs or I got it. And yeah, so during that project, she would tell us, she would tell me तुम कुछ नहीं करते, हम बोलते थे, कंप्लेंट करते थे कि मैम कितना सबमिशन है, क्या है, कॉलेज में ऐसा सिस्टम है, लास्ट मिनट में होता है, प्रैक्टिकल्स होते नहीं, ऐसा ऐसा. She used to say, कितना रोते हो तुम लोग, सिर्फ रोते रहते हो. IIT में देखो लोग ये भी करते, इवेंट्स भी करते, रात भर पिक्चर भी देखते, स्कूल भी जाते, सब करते. That's when I realized कि it is the skills that matter. You have IITians here as well. Get those skills. IIT कहाँ जाने वाला है? IIT वही है. Skills are important. The multitasking. That's when I realized yes, she's right. We don't do anything. At that point, I used to do a lot of stuff, but she used to found me like तुम कुछ करते नहीं हो. And then when I went to do my masters and when I started doing all of this stuff, she said, बहुत ज़्यादा कर रहे हो, थोड़ा enjoy भी करो, US गए हो, weekends में थोड़ा घूमो, go on a hike and send me proof, send me evidence that you're enjoying yourself. So I should do a lot of things, and that's how it turns out. So whether IITs or not IITs, JSPM or not JSPM, you can make a change from where you are. Just know where you want to be. IIT में क्या अभी तो lectures online है, अगर तुमको teaching का ही ये IIT है, open course या कुछ है. In fact, MIT का भी Massachusetts का, if you go on YouTube, MIT open courseware जो चाहिए वो मिलेगा. Economics है, public policy, जो भी है. I know you all study those things, and if you are preparing for the administrative services, MIT open courseware, there are multiple opportunities. But the skills is that you have to choose. IIT में जाके भी शायद ये नहीं मिलेगा, unless you do it. That is my advice. Please do meet Ryan. She's a fantastic teacher. Any other questions?
How to develop a self-discipline and we can manage to ourselves. How to manage
Self-discipline. Start by doing at least one thing consistently. जैसे कि रोज अगर उठ के जॉगिंग जाना है, इतने बजे तो उतने बजे जाना है. एक चीज से शुरू करो. पहले जो चीज अच्छी लगती है, जो तुम्हारे हेल्प के लिए, उससे शुरू करो. And then slowly start increasing that one thing to multiple things. And that's how your self-discipline starts kicking in. Because once you do it for a sustained period of time, you will see the advantages of that self-discipline. And जब वो self-discipline के advantage आते हैं, तब तक आदत हो गई रहती है कि करना है. But to start with, अगर सच में है, start with one thing. At least one thing you do consistently every day. And then slowly set a target. Okay, I have to achieve this in a week, I have to achieve this in a month, I have to achieve this in a year. And then start thinking about how are you going to achieve these things, what are you going to be, and then working on those to get those things. ठीक है, अगर यहाँ से ड्राइव करके मुंबई जाना है, सोचोगे ना कि भाई कितने बजे निकलना है, ट्रैफिक कब होगा, जल्दी निकलना है, लेट निकलना है, किससे जाना है, किसके साथ जाना है. So these are the things. We do plan it, but do it for yourself. So think of yourself, you're taking yourself on a journey to wherever you want to be in your personal or professional life. And in that journey, think about, okay, kahan you have pit stops, where you will have chances to learn what you need. Kis type ka gaadi chahiye, kis type ka, think about that.
Actually, we are from CEC, that is competitive exam set. So, have you given any competitive exam in your past?
Competitive exam as in you have a specific list of exams you want to talk, because I have given GRE, TOEFL, those are competitive exams. I don't know if you do. Oh, they come, yeah, so I have given those. I've tried and I've given GATE as well, but my experience is not great for GATE, so I won't give you advice on how to prepare for GATE. But yeah, GRE, TOEFL are the exams that I given. Other exams like PMD, in school and everything. So, and your question is?
मतलब हम मैनेज कैसे करें कि ये academics भी और competitive?
Again, it depends on the exam. So if you are preparing for engineering services, it's related to your field of study, right? So वो academics के साथ साथ होगा. If it's your administrative services, you get a list of topics to choose from or subjects to choose from. Engineering होता है, management होता है, other you know better, you know that better than me. But then don't think of it as other than academics. If you are preparing for an exam, it becomes a part of your academics. So instead of preparing for 6 subjects for your semester, जो engineering के है, Think of yourself preparing for 8 subjects, do additional and plan for them. Don't think of it, अरे अलग एग्जाम है और मुझे यही करना है तो मैं इंजीनियरिंग कैसा नहीं. Because then वो dishonesty क्या होता है? It starts creeping in your personality. जब सब साथ में कर सकते हो, तब वो personality becomes more improved, and then you get that confidence. Because क्या होगा अगर तुम इंजीनियरिंग छोटी सिर्फ कॉम्पिटिटिव की इंजीनियरिंग में ठीक से नहीं किए, somewhere subconsciously you will know कि ठीक है यार इंजीनियरिंग ठीक से नहीं हुआ. There will be a hint of underconfidence. पर इंजीनियरिंग भी करके administrative services का भी किया तो confidence बढ़ता है. And how much to expect from each exam is up to you. Like for me it was distinction, 66% above. So that was my उतना आया तो I would be happy than person जिसको 80 मिला उससे ज़्यादा मैं खुश होता था कि मैं बड़ी distinction मिला. Because that I had set my goal on. So I achieved my goal. जिसने 90 सेट किया है उसको 80 मिला तो दुख होगा. मेरा that is how I do it. So don't think of it as other than academics or a substitute to academics. So you have to do both. So plan for it. Seek help if you want. Talk to people. Plan your day that way. Plan your activities that way. How are you doing? Few questions.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Vedant, and my question is to you is, what is your journey from BTech to a master level? What makes you do to study in a masters, and what difficulty you face during your masters?
Your name is Vedant, is it? So your question is what difficulties I faced in masters and what was my journey? Difficulties is the first year of my masters. It took me a long time to adjust because I did my masters from a very prestigious university called Ohio State University, and believe it or not, it's supposed to be that only IITians get into that university. That was the I even got felicitated by my coaching institute that okay, civil का कोई Ohio State में जा रहा है तो उसको करता है. But frankly speaking, my profile, the only thing was strong for me was my statement of purpose, which said what I wanted. That being said, I didn't know anything about the university I go there. It's completely different country, right? You start everything. Bank account open करने से लेके बिजली का bill, सब you have to do and you have to manage that. So setting aside these difficulties, considering academic difficulties, my biggest challenge was walking up to a professor's room and talking to them about my problems. The reason is, all my professors were either from Massachusetts Institute of Technology or University of California, Berkeley. So I had this inferiority complex कि मैं उनसे बात भी नहीं कर सकता कैसे, मतलब वो इतना at that moment, मतलब they will talk about coding and everything in civil engineering and we don't do coding here, civil engineering में तब नहीं करते. मुझे आता भी नहीं था, अभी भी उतना नहीं आता, but I know how it works and how to use a programming language as a tool. But then at that point कोई inferiority complex हो गया, डर लगता है कैसे बात करे, कैसे express करे. And 1 year went into that. Then in my second year, I found really good professors who really encouraged talking to them and reaching out to them, and their approach was really different. And that's how I started gaining these skills. Now that I'm talking to you all about, these skills उनसे gain किया, and then I started doing a lot of things. I used to think class में बैठ के, I used to be the only Indian student there. Usually US में it's very rare. All universities have very sizable amount of Indian population. But Ohio State University में भी बहुत ज़्यादा है, पर civil में मैं अकेला था. So all my classmates were either American or from China or all of these. And professor का समझ नहीं आ रहा या professor ठीक से पढ़ा नहीं रहा है, कैसे बात करें? हमको लगता है US गए तो सब professors एकदम बढ़िया, ऐसा नहीं होता. वहाँ पे भी they have their own mix of good professors, not good professors, and totally bad professors. Academia is the same everywhere. And then I went on a week-long trip with a bunch of friends to research on Los Angeles का rapid transit system. One of the friends there was a student from the same class. So we started talking and he said, "Yeah, professor, कैसे पढ़ा?" And that time I realized मैं अकेला नहीं हूँ. I'm not the only one who has problems with this professor. And after that I opened up with people and I found out ways to how to deal with that problem. But I lost 1 year to understand all of this. That's why I want people to know more about it. That you can do a lot of stuff. Those were my challenges. Another challenge that most Indian students face is I see it as a challenge. For them it is a comfort zone. They stay in the Indian students' category. I was like that. during my masters. But my second year made me realize that you should network with people, because at that point nationality doesn't matter. You're all students. You should exchange that. And now I have so many social groups, like Indian students coming here. Then I have a interreligious group where we talk about religion. I have different research groups. I have friends from psychology and we talk about psychological research, which is only little has to do with my own research, but it's that thing. So the more you get acclimatized to that climate and understand, this is normal. It's not that you have to be with the Indian community all the time. You learn these things, and once you get out of the comfort zone, you can go anywhere. Does it answer your question? Or is it okay? So I don't know how much time we have, but I think leadership is like that. I hope you all had fun.
Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you sir for this session. Now we have a felicitation program of students. Let me give an idea what this felicitation is. On the occasion of Indian Navy Day, we requested students to be in white dress code to pay gratitude towards our men in white. And in the history of RSU, it was for the first time, and we got tremendous response from the students. We had also arranged essay on slogan writing session, where students were told to write an essay on their favorite slogans, and the enthusiastic students described their own slogans and also the reason behind it. And now we are here to declare the winners of the session. We don't have first, second, third. We have top 3 or top 5. Here we have top 3 today. So the first one is 𝘾𝙤𝙢𝙥𝙚 is here. His slogan was 𝘾𝙤𝙢𝙥𝙚 𝙀𝙭. Balidan Paravan.
Congratulations.
The second one is Mahesh Lokri. His topic was knowledge is weapon. The third one was Praneet Kadam. Is he here? Yeah. And his topic was Swaraj is my birthright. This ends the registration program. Now I request 𝘾𝙤𝙢𝙥𝙚 to give the vote of thanks on behalf of competitive exam.
Thank you, Sarthak. Am I audible?
Yes.
So, I was just chatting with Sarthak one fine day, and many times these are two chat handles, they are active, Sarthak and Anu, and all that happens in CEC or whatever they have to is routed through them, I guess. All of you routed through them, they tell me. And almost at the same time, I get the same message from both of them. So I send one message to him, forward the same thing to him. This is what I generally do. So what I started was, why I'm saying this is, Sarthak was just telling me that these are the activities and we were about to end it because उसने status भी रखा था शायद, इसके आगे हम सिर्फ पढ़ाई होगी और कुछ नहीं होगा. And I think you didn't follow that because you were Navy Day and all of these things. So exams were coming up. I said कि parallelly Ashish sent me a message that for all those of you who still don't know, he is my younger brother. So he sent me a message that I am coming to college and I'd like to interact with the students. So you are welcome. He said there are some topics and यहाँ पे self advocacy हो जाती है. These are the topics on which I am going to talk to the students. Otherwise, I would have thought that I'll decide one topic, he'll come and he'll just talk about it, or maybe student decided. So no. I am very particular. This is a list of topics. I want to talk to the students about it. If you want, I can. So I just sent the text to Sarthak, and so Sarthak said, "Fair enough, sir. We'll have a session for Ashish." And actually it was, I know, then he sent a text to, कि अभी sir आपको एक vote of thanks देना है. So my point is, where do I begin, right? So one of the reasons of calling Ashish here was, you have to start something. So when we, I think, is anybody from direct second year mechanical available here right now? Yes. So in your class also, when I came, I used to visit their class every 15 days and shout at them. And those who know me, they know me. I used to tell them, urge them, kuch to start. You start something, I am with you. And I gave them the example of CEC. So when I say the first vote of thanks, it goes out to the idea that all of you have taken up that we'll start something as a community. Ashish has been saying the word cohort. Probably you may not have known that word. What is a cohort? कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. हम जब इंजीनियरिंग कर रहे किसको मालूम नहीं रहता. US में जाने के बाद probably you use that word. So what is that cohort? Cohort is a group of identical individuals. So first thanks definitely goes that we have been successful in forming a cohort and planning and working towards those activities. Second, student-led initiatives are always, they go a long way. Because there, we don't have to make anything compulsory. It is taken on its own. So, one of the first clubs that was started, not because some faculty advisor said something, not because of some SAE competition, not because something has to be done. It was started, and for that we got fortunately the first, we got the founder kind of president. Ashish is here, so thank you.
I was never a student.
Oh, you were, yeah. He is a smart guy that way. He was never an office bearer of Shashwat. He was only a founder. He founded it and he left it away. So thank you for your time. I know this is bedtime for him because he's a very bad jet lag. So I was worried that he could make it in time today also, because until he landed in India, in Pune, in Mumbai, yesterday it was difficult. So thank you for a fantastic session, which I hope has helped the students to address my agenda. And my agenda here is slightly, probably you may not know, I'll put it into context. When we start a journey, बोलते हैं कि you begin with the end in mind. लेकिन हमको मालूम नहीं ना इंजीनियरिंग खत्म होने के बाद कैसे दिखेगा. Probably you were in college, you never interacted with an alumni. I was in college, I never interacted with an alumni. So this agenda of bringing an alumni here is इधर ही कैंटीन में, इसी कैंटीन में वड़ा पाव खाया है, इधर ही इंदिरा में जाके कोल्ड कॉफी पिया है. But while you are doing it, what are the tangible outcomes you should be able to meet and you should be able to see? This is the main core that we wanted to address. Apart from that, fantastic arrangements. I'm mind blown, I would say, that with the professionalism that you work, put up quotes and everything. Now I can see that it's a machine which has passed its idling करने की ज़रूरत नहीं. It just started and you people run it like anything. So fantastic round of applause. I also thank our Dr. N.A. Patil sir, who took time. He has a special interest in this also, in student activities, in reaching out to the world. So sir is also coordinator for the Office of International Relations, right? So we have to look at these events from all the perspectives, where once we start something, it can have multiple implications, multiple benefits, and that was all about. So thank you all, thank you CEC, and thank you Ashish. Thank you.
लोगों